on Super so far. Goku is even more goofy than ever.
Well, he's goofy and I'm not screaming. I can deal with that.
Yeah, he's pretty special needs in this. Like, it's interesting. I don't want to go into it, but he's goofier than he's like kind of almost Dragon Ball-ish.
Really? I wonder if it's like, I don't know if it's like, that problem is I always try to find deadly characters, so I'm like, oh, is he slowly becoming more enlightened? No, he's just becoming an idiot. He's just, I'm looking for death where there is none.
He has a serious head injury, so.
True. Which is funny, I suffered one of those as well, and that's why there's a scar on my eyebrows. I drove my Wonder Horse down a hill at like age 4.
You call that your Goku?
My Goku, that's my which I can't remember which eyebrow it is, but I whacked my head pretty good as a kid.
Did we even answer? Oh yeah, we did
I
answer.
wish all my people had knocked out, but I didn't.
Let's see if we can actually
Whole
get five questions
there. I really feel like
Hello, yeah, I'm Sean.
Sorry, people over here. Hi.
Oh, I think they brought you over there now. Now they. You don't.
Oh, there it is.
Whoa.
Hi, Richie, guys.
You don't deserve audio.
Thank you, sir.
You look great, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
My question was, it seems like you guys kind of stumbled into voice acting. What was it about Dragon Ball Z that made you want to pursue it? And, it's been like 20 years and it's still going. Did you guys ever expect that it would get the following that it has now?
So what made us pursue being involved in Dragon Ball?
Well, what was it about Dragon Ball Z that made us pursue? Which there was nothing about Dragon Ball Z because there was just an open casting call. Chris had put an ad in the paper because he was on staff in Funimation and wanted voice actors for a national cartoon. And then when I called him, made the appointment, I think I found out what it was for, and I used to go home after school because I was a teacher. And I would try to practice the voices, but there was a series of episodes where it's just Gohan and Piccolo hanging out in the woods. And I'm like, there's 2 characters in this show. I'm not going to get either of these parts. What the hell? Like this, I can't do that voice and I can't do that voice. They've already cast them. So I just kept practicing. And then I show up and they're like, here's 12 different characters you have to read for. Copy these voices from Canada. And luckily, that was my thing, copying voices. So to me, it was a piece of cake. It was like, oh, I can copy these voices all day. I thought Goku was my worst. I thought I would not get Goku, I might get Yamcha, and I was going to get all the other cool characters I auditioned for, like Bertha, Jace, Captain Ginyu. And then Chris called me and offered me Goku. I was like, are you sure about that? I think I'd rather play this Captain Ginyu. He's like, trust me, you're going to love me, Goku. He wouldn't even tell me until after 2 weeks of recording that I was the lead character in the show. He was like, one day in a session, you do realize this is the main character of the show. I'm like, no, I didn't know that. Like, I totally Goku down in the booth. So there's nothing about it. But I can tell you though, for me, it was kind of a destiny of mine that I didn't know I had, because as a small child, I was obsessed with voices, and I loved guys like Rich Little, who's a old school comedian who does impersonations, and he would change into characters from the 50s and 40s that I'd never seen before, and I didn't know who Jack Benny was. I didn't know. I grew up in the 70s. I didn't know these old school guys, and he would do impersonations, and it would just transform his face and his body and his voice, and I was just like, he's somebody else. I'm gonna be somebody else. That's so cool. And so I would constantly. I think the first impression I ever did was Arnold Rorschach. I think terribly. I was like, hi, how are you? I'm Arnold Rorschach. I mean, that was probably the best I ever did. That was like my and I would listen to Bill Cosby records over and over. I had all his records on vinyl because my grandparents had them, and my mother had them. So I would just listen to all his records and try to do his voices and listen to his stories. And then Robin Williams got me excited, not realizing that my Robin Williams impression was me trying to do an impression of a guy who's on cocaine constantly. So I'm like a little kid, look at me, I'm like, wait a second, because I'm thinking that that's just how he is and that humans can just be that fast. But it turns out you need cocaine.
So when you were touched by Bill Cosby?
I was touched by Bill Cosby. Sing the Romney Block. Have a drink, no, go ahead.
Did we expect it to be going on this long? Absolutely not. I had no idea when we went into it. When they told me that I was working on this show called Dragon Ball Z, I was like, all right, cool. Like that's.
So there's a picture of us when we finished Z flipping off the last script. Like, we're done. We're done.
That was taken.
Because we love the show. We're like, we're done. 13 years ago, we took a picture, and then we're like, within a year, I think I called. Oh yeah, we're gonna do was it GT or Kai or a video game. it's like, oh, we're gonna do something else. And so Chris and I have never been away from the characters for any longer than a year at a time.
Yeah, there's usually some video game or some redub or something. So we are waiting for Super. That's what I'm waiting.
That's what we're waiting on. And we're just, you should start writing letters to Toei, Get on the ball, legal.
Because I don't think they have any clue that anyone in America wants to watch Dragon Ball Super yet.
Really?
I'm just
I'm gonna listen because I get nervous. Actually, it's a funny reaction because I got a text from Derek Roberts, the comic book artist. He did Transmetropolitan. I got a text. He goes, sends like, is this real? And I roll over. I'm half asleep. I roll over to Bree, my girlfriend, and I say, I mentioned something, and then she double checks and she goes, yeah, it's real. And I go, oh shit. And I go back. My first thought was 15 more years of streaming. And I was excited too. I mean, like I said, I have a love, I wouldn't even say a love-hate relationship, I have a love-grown relationship with Dragon Ball Z, because it changed my life, and I owe everything, and I've got a room full of people interested in hearing what I have to say, so it's totally gratifying, but it is a labor of love in a lot of ways.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting, yeah.
Mentally and physically.
Chris has flu-like symptoms when he's done playing Vegeta.
Yeah, after long streaming sessions the next day, I'm like, I'm coming down with a flu, or did I just voice Vegeta yesterday?
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Hello.
You usually see like in like movies and usually live action stuff like people just doing gag reels or whatever, but you don't really see that much about voice acting, at least that I see. I was just wondering, what were your guys' best memories doing like voice acting in general, and maybe your worst?
You mean the gag reel memories?
Well, just whatever.
Because as far as the gag reel goes, when I worked for NYV Post as an ADR director, we were the first studio to put outtakes on a reel. It's much to the chagrin of some of the Japanese clients. Some of the Japanese clients requested it, but generally the Japanese were like, do not to make fun of our show. They were like, they didn't get it. They were like very offended, and so. But then after a while, they got popular. And then some clients would say, I would ask, I'd be directing a show for Michael St. Nicholas, and I'd be like, am I doing outtakes? He's like, do them. They might want them. So we did. There's a bunch of Berserk. If you guys have seen Berserk, there's a bunch. And there was that one legendary. Remember that big Dragon Ball Z cast party? And Evan Jones, our engineer, had been saving on a reel to picture every single outtake we had done. And there were dozens and dozens of outtakes. And then we played it at a party, and our producer Barry goes, give it a reel, can't have that out there. And then Evan hands it to him, and he goes, is there a copy of this? And Evan goes, no, but I think he has fingers crossed behind his back. And so there is a reel out there from our first season.
It does exist.
And Chris, you will send me sometime. We will.
I have some. I have one on my phone right here, actually. Like, there was one time where the narrator for Kai had a really funny Ron Burgundy moment. And there was a question mark at the end. And this guy is, the guy who's the narrator for Kai, his name is Doc Morgan. He's just a legendary radio guy, legendary video guy. He does the voice for Ford trucks. He does Six Flags. He does so many commercials. I know you know his voice. You probably know when you hear it. But this was, he just reads whatever is in front of him. He never makes a mistake, but he reads exactly what's there. So let's see if this will play. Let's see if it'll even load, actually. Good luck. Hold on, let me see.
What are Goku and his friends up against? The battle begins now.
Question marks in the script?
And this was one where, this was a Dragon Ball Z video game where the guy who plays TM Shinhan took one of the lines, and I think we all realized what the hidden context was as he was reading it. So he goes, I can barely keep my eyes on these guys. I can barely keep my eyes off these guys is the correct read.
I haven't heard that one.
Let's see.
There's the one.
I'm scared to play some of these.
There was the one I did. You know the one where I did the Alderon joke? And I even have that one.
Oh,
there was one where, well, what happened was they did Goku, and it was Goku's dream, and it was like showing pictures of each one. Goku, Chi-Chi,
Oh, yeah.
and then picture after picture. So I just set each one, Goku, Chi-Chi, Tenshinhan, da-da-da-da-da, and then shows the plan, and I go, all right, and then it blows up. And then that keeps getting popping on the screen, I kept going, they kept popping up on the screen.
Oh man, I wish I could.
But we have dozens of those that we're not allowed to really release, although I'm sure, you know, once we're done, Chris will just put them up on YouTube.
Oh, I won't even care. Like,
Whatever.
I just don't even know. I'm scared to play something.
I just have one question, Justin. We get pretty. How is it me, or do the women get extra mouthy in the book too? Are they the ones that like really extra curse, or am I thinking of a different?
No, it's usually guys who
The
are.
guys are worse. Okay. No, I'm thinking of 4 Kids we did an outtake reel, and they cut it together, and all the women actresses were much mouthier and dirtier than the men. It was really funny. I don't know if they'll ever release that, but I don't know what the question was. I forgot. Memorable moments. Those are some of them. I have worst memory? I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a. You know, the worst memories for me are usually personal or miserable, and then the best memories are usually an outtake. Of some sort, you know. We can do another question. Yeah.
What is like the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you during a signing or any of the cons that you've ever been to?
Worst thing is.
Weirdest or worst?
Like either or.
Oh man. It was. Let's see. There was a time where Sean and I were both doing a signing on a military base, and someone brought like literally a 14-day-old baby for us to sign their diaper or something.
Just out of the womb.
Both of us were like,
Cut the
oh,
wheels off right there.
You're not supposed to have this thing around children, like around groups of people right now. Let's see.
Right away.
One kid seriously was trying to get me to date his mom. Let's see. Some of the worst times, to be honest, and this is, and I mean this in a somewhat polite way, is that when we were touring, did any of you remember back in the day when SCORE had us going from place to place with this giant Dragon Ball Z Hummer, and they would go to different malls and stuff like that? Yeah.
Trading cards, yeah.
The trading card game, we go sign places. Occasionally, they would send us to a place that either no one knew about Dragon Ball Z or just, and it was, no one would be there except for maybe one person.
Yeah.
And that one person would come up to go, hello, I have a series of questions for you. And just really,
Yeah.
there's no way to go like, hey, thank you, it's nice to meet you, there's someone waiting, because there wasn't anyone waiting.
I had to ride in a vehicle with Santa Claus. Like Santa Claus is waving at me. Going to a mall. Yeah. That was embarrassing. That was, I think we showed up Santa Claus. I mean, like nobody gave a shit about Santa Claus. But
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. And then I'm trying to think of other stuff. There's so many crazy things that happen. I think we just get so used to it, other than Chris pranking everyone. I'm trying to think of any other signing diapers, saying
Occasionally, there was one kid who brought me like it was nice, I guess. They brought me like some food. It was like packaged like sausage or something like that, but they'd already eaten some of it. Like as they just got hungry in line or whatever, like screw it, I'm just gonna have some.
I always like to joke that our lives are very much like A-list celebrities watered down by like 1 million. You know, so it's like I have one stalker, whereas Tom Cruise has millions of stalkers. You know, and I got recognized at the DMV when I moved to LA, like that kind of weird. I was just getting the license for free. She's getting the license and goes, "Hey, you have a place to go?" And like at the DMV, she usually comes up to me and I'm like, and I got recognized by an Indian dude at the subway who thought he was. I recognize you because you go to. I have a job interview today, and I will get the job because I met you. That's exactly what he said to me. I go, okay, good luck on the job. I go, they showed us in India. He goes, oh, they showed them in Toonami. The Toonami. They showed. So apparently they showed in India on Toonami to millions of kids. I was not aware of this in English. So that's a pretty cool feeling to know that millions of people in a country where English is not the first language.
We don't get recognized that often.
No, it's not that often.
And but I will say, I did get recognized at the best possible time. I was on one of my very first dates with the girl who's now my wife, and we were at a movie theater. We were leaving the movie theater, and this is like really early on. And the guy's like, "Excuse me, Mr. Sabat, could I get a
Yeah, I'm getting leaving today.
I'm like, this never happens. So she thought,
It's a surreal career, yeah. Hi.
Okay, I would just first like to thank you guys for being here today. And,
You're welcome.
I've been watching you guys since I was 3 years old.
we've been watching you too.
Everyone here, I think I can speak on behalf of us that we've all been watching you.
Since we were 3 years old.
Anyways, basically, we've all grown up watching this show, and I'd like to think that we've all taken something really important from the show, whether it be Vegeta's pride or Goku's
Idiocy.
Never put.
The question I have for you guys is, how did Dragon Ball Z really impact you guys in your life? The past 17 years, how did it impact your life and make a difference for you?
That's a great question. And I mean, Chris, it's funny to watch everyone's trajectory. You ever see like the cast of Full House? What happened to them? The cast, like everyone has their own trajectory. When you see these other shows where it's affected them, and for me, it was. I literally stumbled into it, and it's so pretty much. I mean, I live in LA with in a decent apartment. I drive a nice car, and I have a wonderful girlfriend, and all that comes from a guy who decided to draw a cartoon in Japan in 1985. So he's sitting there with a pen, and I'm just one of the ancillary actors on the show, relative to the Japanese cast, and any other version. Like we heard about French Vegeta, it was hilarious, and
There is a French Vegeta. There's a book that was written by this guy. He interviews all the different characters from all over the mini.
the best interview was French Vegeta.
He's like, I don't care.
It's so French.
It means nothing to me.
It was like a good opportunity. I met some interesting people. And then he wrote it back and said, "You sure you don't want to add that?" Because every other actor was talking about how it changed their lives and long pages and pages of dialogue, particularly me. And he wrote it back and he goes, "No, I'm happy with my answer." Like, that's so French. French Vegeta just blew off the interview. I love it.
I want to hope that he was just like, that was his act. Like, he's so much like Vegeta.
Yeah.
It's like, it was not.
No, you guys did not care. Screw you. Like he just rubbing a cigarette the whole time.
I'd say for Sean and I, Dragon Ball Z has so profoundly affected our lives. I don't even know what, and it happened so suddenly and so kind of unexpectedly.
Yeah.
That I don't even know what we would be doing at this point if it weren't for the show. Because since the day I decided, well, I guess I'll skip my astronomy class and go to this audition for this Japanese cartoon that my friend's wife was working on. If I had not gone to that, I don't know what my life would be right now. Everything changed from that moment on. And since that moment, really Dragon Ball Z has been an active part of my life ever since.
Every day. I mean, I don't know about you, but like for me, Dragon Ball Z was my first audition. So that's how I discovered I could voice act. And then I moved to New York and I struggled for a bit, but then I got cast on dozens of 4Kids shows and was able to, work on what has become my craft and my career and my talent. And before that I was playing French horn in an orchestra and teaching music. And I don't think it uncovered what, I should have, like most people realize they have a talent, they go to acting school, they do it. I just kind of stumbled into it. The way it's impacted our lives is just, it's profound. It's as profound as the show. It makes me wonder about maybe Kira Triana is some kind of magical bobbing wizard or something.
But it wasn't almost as if someone came to us and said, like, you now have a superpower.
Yeah.
And now you have to be a superhero.
Yeah. That's what it's like.
It was sudden. It was all.
It's like the greatest American hero, you get powers you don't know what to do with, It's something always stumbling,
And I mean, well, I'd say a majority of it has been awesome. But just like anything else, like that you might be involved in over time, like when